Ever wondered what a Bitcoin ETF is and why it's considered the holy grail for mainstream investing? Well, let's unravel this financial jargon. Bitcoin ETF, or exchange-traded fund, is essentially a type of investment fund that tracks the price of Bitcoin. It's a bridge that connects the traditional finance world to the somewhat wild west of cryptocurrencies. Why is it so important, you ask? Well, for starters, it allows investors to buy into the Bitcoin market without dealing with the complexities of buying and storing Bitcoin directly. It's a way to bring Bitcoin to the masses, making it accessible and understandable. Moreover, the approval of a Bitcoin ETF is seen as a significant step towards mainstream investing. It's a nod of approval from regulatory authorities, symbolizing that Bitcoin has matured enough to be considered a viable legal investment. Now that we've established what a Bitcoin ETF is, let's delve into its timeline. The concept of a Bitcoin ETF isn't new. It dates back to several years ago. The inception of the Bitcoin ETF idea is a tale of innovation meeting regulation, a fascinating collision of traditional finance with the disruptive force of digital currency. To understand the origins of the Bitcoin ETF, we must go back to the early 2010s. The Winklevoss twins, known for their involvement with Facebook, were among the first to propose a Bitcoin ETF. Their proposal, however, met with resistance and was ultimately rejected by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, the SEC, marking the beginning of a long and complex journey. This initial rejection was primarily due to concerns surrounding the lack of regulation and potential for manipulation in the Bitcoin market. The SEC voiced concerns about the ability to prevent fraudulent and manipulative acts and practices in this relatively uncharted digital terrain. However, despite the roadblocks, the idea of the Bitcoin ETF persisted. It was seen as a bridge between the traditional financial system and the emerging world of cryptocurrencies. A Bitcoin ETF would allow traditional investors to gain exposure to Bitcoin without the complexities of buying and holding the actual digital currency. The journey towards approval was filled with numerous rejections and delays. Each proposal brought new considerations and challenges, revealing the complexities of integrating a decentralized digital asset into a regulated financial system. As we can see, the journey to establish a Bitcoin ETF hasn't been smooth sailing, but the tides have been turning recently. Over the years, numerous companies have tried their luck at launching a Bitcoin ETF. Stepping back into the history, the first application for a Bitcoin ETF was filed by the Winklevoss twins back in the year 2013. Yes, you heard it right. The very same who are known for their association with Facebook. They saw the potential of Bitcoin and its advantages over traditional investments. However, their application was dismissed by the US Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, citing concerns over fraud and market manipulation. Undeterred by this setback, several other firms, including SolidX, VanEck, and Bitwise, followed suit, each proposing their own versions of a Bitcoin ETF. These companies faced similar challenges with the SEC, who maintained their stance, highlighting the volatility of Bitcoin and the potential for market manipulation as key reasons for denial. Fast forward to 2018, the CBOE, or the Chicago Board Options Exchange, also tried their hand at launching a Bitcoin ETF. They too faced the same fate, with their application being withdrawn after several delays and pushbacks from the SEC. The Journey of Bitcoin ETF has been a roller coaster ride marked by hopes, setbacks, and persistence. Each denial by the SEC was followed by renewed attempts, reflecting the undying enthusiasm and the belief in the potential of Bitcoin ETFs within the financial community. However, it's not all doom and gloom. The year 2021 brought some optimism, as Canada approved the world's first Bitcoin ETF, setting a precedent for other countries. This was a landmark moment in the journey of Bitcoin ETF, indicating a shift in regulatory attitudes towards cryptocurrency. On the US front, the SEC's stance seems to be softening, with Gary Gensler, the new CC chairman, expressing a more open-minded approach towards Bitcoin ETFs. While there are still regulatory hurdles to overcome, many believe it's not a question of if, but when a Bitcoin ETF will be approved in the US. Despite the hurdles, the pursuit for a Bitcoin ETF continues, and we've seen some promising developments recently. The landscape for a Bitcoin ETF is evolving, with some exciting updates in recent times. A Bitcoin exchange-traded fund, or ETF, has been the talk of the town for quite some time now. The concept of a Bitcoin ETF combines the flexibility of buying and selling Bitcoin like a stock with the diversification benefits of a fund investment. While the journey has been long and arduous, recent developments have brought a glimmer of hope. In the United States, the Securities and Exchange Commission, or the SEC, has been gradually shifting its stance. From initial skepticism, we've seen a gradual openness towards the concept. The most significant development of late was the SEC's nod of approval to the first Bitcoin futures ETF in late 2022. This was a significant milestone not just for the Bitcoin ETF, but for the broader cryptocurrency industry. Across the pond in Europe, several Bitcoin ETFs have already been approved and are trading on various exchanges. These European Bitcoin ETFs have provided a blueprint for other regions to follow. In Asia, particularly in Japan and South Korea, regulatory bodies are closely monitoring the developments in the United States and Europe. They're studying the potential risks and rewards to consider before making any definitive decisions. As we can see, the possibility of a Bitcoin ETF is becoming increasingly plausible. These developments are not just important for investors, but also for the broader acceptance and integration of Bitcoin and other cryptocurrencies into mainstream finance. So what does the future hold for a Bitcoin ETF? As we gaze into the crystal ball, there are a few trends that could shape its destiny. Regulatory authorities worldwide are gradually warming up to the idea of cryptocurrencies. This acceptance could pave the way for more Bitcoin ETFs in the future. Simultaneously, the cryptocurrency industry is continually evolving, and the integration of Bitcoin ETFs could become a key milestone in this journey. As more investors understand the benefits of Bitcoin ETFs, their demand could surge, influencing market dynamics. However, it's important to remember that this is a nascent industry, and the road ahead may be lined with unexpected twists and turns. The future of Bitcoin ETFs, like that of Bitcoin itself, is inherently unpredictable. While the future of Bitcoin ETF isn't certain, one thing is clear. Its potential to revolutionize mainstream investing makes it a pursuit worth watching.